with Kyle Evans. Grow with Kyle Evans.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of the internet. Welcome back to the G.R.O.W Show. Coach Kyle Evans coming here to hang out with you. Maps coach, bold coach, all the things, Constellation Home Sales in your backyard. And we are going to start with our daily checkup from the neck up, man. We've been doing yesterday, today, and tomorrow something called the influence equation. That's what we're calling it. Sounds cool, feels good, looks good. The influence equation. Where in your life do you need more influence? At home? At work? Here's the one we don't like to talk about enough. With ourselves. Guys, today we're going to keep diving on that note, and we're going to talk about the power of framing and defining the frame and what that looks like for each of us. We're going to take it that one step further today, and then tomorrow, guess what? We're going to continue that journey down the rabbit hole. We're going to talk about framing and power dynamics today. Guys, it's the invisible structure. Like, it's there. It determines who leads and who follows in just about any conversation. And I don't think we give it as much credence as we should, as much credit. We've seen this same thing before. Each and every one of you have. Whether it's in the professional arena or at home, two people come into a room. One is confident, collected, calm. The other is defensive and reactive. Same topic, though, same facts. One of those is walking into that room leading the narrative. The other one's walking in that room or walking out of that room having the narrative dictated for them. That's not luck. It's framing. Framing is a way to lead through context. It's how we define reality before someone else defines it for us. Think about that. It's how we define the reality of the situation, the moment, the story, the sale, the day, before we let someone else define it. And it has one simple rule. Whoever sets the frame controls the focus. Whoever sets the frame controls the focus. Whoever controls the focus now controls the outcome. So today, let's dive in this morning. Let's break it down, man. Let's see how this shows up in life, maybe in leadership. Who knows? Maybe some sales. So let's talk about what a frame really is. Let's set the foundation here. It's simply a lens through which we're interpreting what's happening. It's the story underneath the story. If I walk into a room and I'm with a buyer and I say something like, let's see if this home is worth what they're asking for. The frame that I just set is skepticism, and everyone's going to follow along with that. Let's see if this home is really worth what they're asking for it. That is a skeptical frame that people are going to jump into that reality and look to prove it true. But if I walked into that same room with the same buyers and I said something like this, let's see if this home fits your vision. The frame is possibility. Same house, different frame, different emotions, leads to a different outcome. Frames decide emotions, ladies and gentlemen, and then emotions are going to decide movement. In every single sales conversation, someone's frame will win. Either you're pulled into theirs or they're pulled into yours. Make no mistake about it. This is where most agents, most salespeople, most entrepreneurs lose influence without realizing it. They walk in to a listing appointment. They walk in to a strategy session. They walk into a consultation and they start responding instead of framing. They let the client set the tone. And sometimes we miss it because it's not this big grand arrival. Sometimes it's just some simple sentences like, we're interviewing 3 agents. Maybe it's a line like, we only care about the price. Maybe it sounds like, we're not ready yet. Each one of those statements is a framing challenge. And when you react defensively, you've already lost control of the focus. Instead, your job is to acknowledge the frame, acknowledge it. I'm not ignoring them. I'm going to acknowledge the frame that they're seeking to put on the situation, and then I'm going to gently reframe it. For instance, for the first one, we're interviewing 3 agents. We're interviewing multiple people. We're interviewing others. Perfect is what I will say. I'm going to acknowledge them. Perfect. You should. Choosing who represents your home, it deserves thought. My goal is just to simply show you what it looks like to have the right agent in your corner. We're interviewing 3 agents. Perfect. You should. Choosing who represents your home, guys, that deserves thought. My goal is simply to show you what it looks like to have the right agent in your corner. I just reframed, ladies and gentlemen, competition into comparison of value. We remove the tension by redefining the meaning. It's no longer adversarial. It's now collaborative. That's framing at its finest, very simply, very effectively. So as we go down the rabbit hole of framing, I want to give you what I would describe as 5 main pillars. Can you come up with some more? Of course. These are the 5 that I think are going to be most important in your journey. And that's just my biased opinion. I have been known to be wrong, ladies and gentlemen, but this is what I got for you this morning. Number 1 is the authority frame. Authority, not arrogance. Authority. Authority is calm, confident certainty. People trust direction when it comes from composure, not control. Understand the difference there. It's a big one. Authority is not saying I'm controlling. Authority is calm, confident composure. Authority does not mean louder. It means clearer. For example, let's talk about real estate. I don't know if you know this, I sell real estate. So that's usually where we land. Let's use a real estate example. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what the data shows. Here's the strategy I'd recommend to position you to win. Very simple, very direct, very confident. I'm not asking for belief. I'm inviting them in through clear expectation. Authority is established with preparation and tone. Because you can be the most prepared person in the room, the most prepared person in your city, your state, dang, the nation. And if your tone, if your energy doesn't match the authority that you're representing, it will not land. Confidence, a lot of times, is quiet. Insecurity is the one that usually needs volume. So that's the authority frame. I want you to think not arrogance, but calm and certainty. The value frame. I want you to shift the conversation from cost to outcome. Value, right? Cost to outcome. A client might say something like this, and we've heard this tale once or twice. Hey, you charge more than other agents. You charge more than other people. Hey, Frank, you're right. We should talk about what that investment buys you. In fact, we should talk about if you think we're expensive, you should really see the cost of choosing the wrong agent. I'm not deflecting. I'm directing. I'm not deflecting. I'm directing. You're right. You are right. We absolutely charge more than other agents. Let's talk about what that investment buys you. In fact, let's talk about the outstanding cost of choosing the wrong one. Directing the conversation. Value frame keeps the focus on what they get, not what they give. What do they get? Remember, people run from pain. Number 3, the time frame. This is a frame of urgency and opportunity cost. Urgency and opportunity cost. People, consumers, clients, more often than not, especially the higher the purchase price, are professional fence sitters. It's hard to make a decision. The more the price goes up, the more anxiety and pausing. There you go. Words. It's fine. We're going to get there. The more they pause, right? As they should. Why? Because they're afraid to make a mistake. One of my urgency frames around that would be, hey, man, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. You don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait. I'm reminding them that the indecision is still a decision. Indecision is still a decision. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. But don't worry, because the second best time is right now. It's today. Scarcity and timing trigger attention. But urgency, please write this down, understand this. Urgency without empathy is manipulation. Urgency without empathy is manipulation. You must balance both to do it effectively and do it for the best interest of the people. That's the time frame. The next pillar here is the collaboration frame. I love this one. This is where I like to be. I want to shift the relationship often and always from adversarial to allied. I don't want it to be me versus them. I want it to be me and them versus the problem. I want it to be me and them versus the market, me and them versus the competition, not me versus them. That's not how this works. I'm a team player, baby. I want you on my team and I want to be on yours. Let's figure out how to get your family into the right home together, not just any home, the right home. What did I say there? Let's. Together. I'm changing the energy from pressure to partnership. And I see agents get this wrong all the time. Or one of the things is they self-select out because they say crap like, I don't want to be salesy. Cool, dude. Don't. Stop leaning into pressure and lead into partnership. Be the collaborative example. You guys get me hot on a Thursday morning. The final pillar for you this morning in our short time together is the story frame. If you've been a fan of the show, if you've been in my rooms or been in my talks, you know that I'm all about stories and storytelling. Storytelling, the story frame, in my opinion, is the most powerful of all of them. Stories are frames wrapped in emotion. They pull people into a shared vision. That's the point. I am pulling people into a shared vision, a shared wisdom, a shared nugget, a shared direction. When you say something like, I don't know, I worked once with a family and they felt just like you do right now. I'm reframing doubt into possibility. I'm gently showing them that other people have felt how they have felt and they still won and they made it through and they got to the end. They found the gold pot at the end of the rainbow. I once worked with a family who felt just like you do right now. Humans don't remember data. They remember meaning. When you control the story, you control the state. When you control the state, you control the decision. There's levels to this. One of them that a lot of people mess up and confuse or do a poor job with is the power dynamics of it. I want you to think calm instead of chaotic. Dominance, I mean, not dominance, but emotional control. Power and influence isn't always about status. This is where we get it wrong. Power and influence isn't always about status, it's about stability. The person who is the most certain, the most centered, they hold the frame. In a negotiation, ladies and gentlemen, the one who can stay emotionally regulated, I know that's hard for a lot of us out there, that's the person that controls the pace. If you follow people like Chris Voss or Robert Greene, awesome authors, you can see this golden thread between them all that ties it together. The person who cares least about the outcome often holds the most leverage. Think about that. I'm not talking about apathy. I'm talking about detachment from ego. When you can genuinely walk away, your presence becomes more magnetic. People can feel that confidence, or they can feel the desperation. The buyer who says, we'll need to think about it, expects you to chase. But when I say, hey, I completely understand, you probably haven't gotten enough information from me to make that choice. My job isn't to convince you. It's to make sure that you have all the clarity you need to make the best decision for your family. You just flip the dynamic. By the way, I truly believe that. And that's why I can say it so confidently. My job isn't to convince them. My job is to provide them with enough clarity that they're going to make the best decision for their family. I become the calm authority, and energy follows certainty. I want you to never forget that your nervous system speaks louder than your mouth. If you're anxious, they feel it. You don't have to guess, they feel it. If you're grounded, guess what? They lean in. That's power. That's influence. But we have to pay attention to these things. Every conversation is like a little tug of war, power and influence. It's a little micro battle for control. If you once you see this, I almost hate to do this to you, but I'm going to anyway. Once you see this, once you understand this, once you start to look at the chessboard of life and these micro battles of control and influence, you can start to spot them and you can't unsee it. Like when people interrupt people or they try to change the conversation with off-topic questions saying, I'm not listening and your line is not important enough, or maybe they challenge your credibility or they test your boundaries. When this happens, don't fight, don't over-explain, don't lose the emotional regulation. Acknowledge it and reframe it, baby. Acknowledge it and reframe it. If you're in real estate, it might be something like one of my favorites. Another agent said that they can sell it for more. They said they can sell it for $50,000 more, $100,000 more. Love that for them. I would probably say something like, hey, that's totally fair. You're probably going to hear a range of numbers from different people. My job isn't to give you the highest promise. It's not. It's to give you the most honest plan that buyers are actually responding to right now that's going to make your goals happen. Truth bomb. Another agent said they could sell it for more. Totally fair. You're probably going to hear a range of numbers from different people. But here's the thing, my job is not to promise you the highest thing. It's to give you the most honest plan that buyers are actually responding to that will actually get you to the goals that you want. I didn't argue one thing in that, ladies and gentlemen. I reframed truth as trust. I didn't argue at all and say, well, Susan's dumb or my price is right and theirs is wrong. I reframed the truth as trust. That's how you win. It's not through a power struggle, but it's through perspective. It's through the framing of the story and inviting them into that reality. Frames aren't just for sales, they're for life too. You literally frame every moment for your team, your family, your kids, your friends. If you say, we have to get through this, that's a frame of survival. Or maybe you say something better, like, we get to grow through this. That's a frame of opportunity. When I said in the beginning of the day, you may be doing a poor job of framing things, I didn't just mean sales. I meant to yourself and to your family and to those most important to you. We have to get through this. That's survival. We get to grow through this. That's opportunity. Leadership of yourself and others, it's reframing adversity into meaning. When your business slows down, when the market tightens, when the plans go sideways, when life shows up on a random Wednesday morning, I want you to ask yourself, what frame am I holding right now? What frame am I projecting right now? What story am I telling? What story am I going to let be told? Because frames don't just challenge outcomes, they literally change identities. Influence isn't always loud, but you best believe that it's always clear. The influence of yourself, the influence of others, the influence of your business, the most influential people in your life, guys, more often than not, they don't shout you into belief. They don't berate you. They framed your reality until you could see it more clearly. My challenge to you this week, today, tomorrow, next month, before you speak, define the frame. Before you answer, set the tone. Before you sell, please create meaning. The loudest voices are not always the leaders, but the clearest frames are. If you define the moment, you win the moment. Reframing isn't persuasion. It's perspective leadership. Nobody wants to be told what to do, but every single person wants to be led. I trust that this was worth your time this morning. Go out there and start creating the right frames for yourself, for your family, for your business. I'm Kyle Evans. It's an honor to be here with you, and I'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Grow with Kyle Evans.